Good morning, Shaw viewers. It's Mayor Ken with you this morning, and we are coming to you this morning from the Ross Street patio where we have put an entertainment district into place. So be sure to come on down and enjoy. So I'm sitting on the Pride bench this morning, and very, very applicable, of course, to the month of June, because June is Pride Month right across our great country and, of course, right in our great city. It's a month where we celebrate diversity and we celebrate inclusion. And June actually is also National Indigenous Peoples Month. So June's pretty special for Red Deer, and it's great to be with you this morning. Gosh, I'm not sure. I was really surprised to see what we saw. Obviously, the major, sort of the major impact of people's feedback was the effect on neighborhood properties. So it really wasn't a surprise. I would say if I was delighted, which is, I think, a better word, I was delighted at the amount of feedback, and I was delighted at the compassion and the empathy that people felt for the shelter itself. People recognize we need a shelter, but they also recognize it has to be balanced in neighborhoods. Council landed on what I would call the absolute favorite spot, I think, as it related to us, and that is having all of council make a shelter decision. We went through four different options, all the way from a small subcommittee of council to a committee of administration to a citizen committee and then to an all committee of council. By choosing an all committee of council, we really kept the decision in the elected body, which is where citizens, I think, expect us to make a decision. So over the next, 10 days, we'll have two special council meetings, and we'll go through all of the data that we were presented with. We'll do what's called a matrix evaluation of the data, and we're hoping that by the end of August, I think it's, the 27th or so, that we will have a shelter proposal for the province based on that feedback. I want to thank everybody for participating in a very broad outreach by the RCMP. Our RCMP really looked for community feedback on where their priorities should be. So the policing plan was a very direct response to that particular piece of outreach. So the three areas that we landed on were police visibility and response, crime prevention, and partnerships in the community. And really, what it does, I think, for the community is really say their voices have been heard, um, and the police are going to react in a way that they can build on the public's expectations. So we adopted it yesterday. That means going forward now, the RCMP will come to us every 3 months, so four times a year, with some measurables against the priorities that we laid out for them. So I look for a much more visible police presence in neighborhoods, and I certainly look forward to it. I think our superintendent called it their summer action plan, where they're going to be more visible on trails. They're going to be more visible in our parks, which is where people have asked for more RCMP presence. So I think it's a very fundamental and a very proper response to the outreach that people gave them. Gosh, I said it in council yesterday, and I've been saying this, over the years, is that we can't police our way out of crime. So the community has to take a piece of ownership in really determining our own fate, if you will. Too many times, the police tell us that there were unlocked doors or keys in the ignition or access for criminals, access for bad guys, if you will. We just have to ramp up our common sense crime prevention techniques. You know, one of the things that I've learned over the years is what I'll call the 9 p.m. lockdown. So in other words, at 9 o'clock at night, check your doors. Check your doors, check your garage door, check your car doors. Just a simple little checklist that you can go through that'll deter or prevent crime. And so I look for more crime prevention initiatives, not just from the police, but with our partners, for example, in the Crime Prevention Center, around how citizens can build up that prevention side, which I think is an element that we need to do more of in the city to be more effective. Well, we didn't get what I would call, a tremendous amount of public feedback, and but sometimes that's good too, because typically what happens when you go into a neighborhood area structure plan, you get an A1, which is basically kind of a blank slate for how the property is going to be developed. And last night, we introduced a bunch of zoning changes into that particular area. So what we can look forward to now is a very successful development based on the particular zoning that we gave them. I think sometimes when the public doesn't respond to us, that's actually a sign that we're on the right track and doing planning the way that we should be doing it. Zoning and rezoning are often the points where residents really get involved in terms of how they want their neighborhoods to be. So when we get into public hearings, it is an opportunity, obviously, for the public to respond. And this shouldn't really shock anybody, but when you do a land development plan, say from even as recent as 2014, which this one was last night, that's only 8 years ago, but trends change, people's needs change, demographics change, households get smaller or bigger, retirements occur, all of those things, which means we need to be nimble and flexible in how we plan neighborhoods. So typically, I would say we'll see over the years, and I'm sure the development community, if they were sitting here this morning with me, would confirm this, we're going to see more of these applications to be a little bit more nimble on how we do planning. There was a development kicked off just a few weeks ago up here in Timberstone called the Wellings of Red Deer, and that was a planning around the 55 plus community. So look at me, folks, we're not getting younger, and we have to be more nimble sometimes on how we plan for projects. I think council really showed a lot of resolve around the shelter issue. Just going back to the shelter issue, one of the themes that we saw in the shelter issue from the public was having the courage to make hard decisions, tough decisions, and to sort of get on with the job, to sort of proceed and get it done. And I think the way council came together, unanimously approving that option that I spoke of the full council committee, and setting the 2 dates for the meeting so quickly, was a response to the public saying, hey guys, we're with you. We want to be with you in the journey going forward, but we want to encourage you to make a decision for us. So I was very proud of council from that perspective. All right, folks, as I said, June is not only Pride Month, an opportunity to go and celebrate with our Pride community, lots of events in the community, please do that. But it's also this very day is National Indigenous Peoples Day in our country. And of course, it's National People Indigenous Day right here in the city. An opportunity for us to learn and be enriched by Indigenous culture, by the people that really were on this land when we arrived here about 500 years ago, plus or minus, depending on what province you live in. So it's an opportunity to celebrate. So if you're celebrating Pride, June is a great month for that. If you're celebrating the Indigenous community, June is a great month for that. Have a great day, everyone. See you in a few weeks.